to talk about our probably the most difficult life for new graduates. So we want to talk about our life in professional life and the personal life in the past 6 months after graduation. So I think that part of life would give a good example about how we transition from being a student to a professional creatives in our own industry and fields. And second, I want to ask Jo and Tong a question about what would be one darkest moment in our life, in our professional life, from graduation to now. So I think that would give an example about how people, how our students would encounter in their recent graduation and life. Yeah. So the next one, I think we want to, since because Jo and Liyuan right now is living in the New York City. So, and as everybody knows that right now, the New York City is the epicenter for this incredibly terrible pandemic. So I'm really curious to know more about how they are coping with this crisis there. And what they see there, I think that's really, somehow, I think it would help us to understand the people's life there through their eyes. So yeah. I think, but before everything, I'm thinking about maybe share 2 recent works by Jo. Jo just sent me like 2 comic stories that's created after the COVID, and he's talking about life during the COVID. I just read it. It's just those really 2 really beautiful comic stories that kind of gives us a little bit like perspective about what a normal people's life looks like. So I'm wondering if I can share my screen. Let me give a try. Okay. Open system. Okay. Yep, I think I can share the screen. This one.
And can we actually start from the other one?
Oh, from the other one? Yeah, sure. Let me do that.
Thank you.
So we can spend a little bit of time just quietly appreciate the story.
I can do a reading if you guys want.
Yes, I actually attended a comic artist event. Actually, comic artist, is it a thing nowadays for comic artists to read their story?
It is, but I never done it. It's actually kind of awkward. Never mind. I don't want to read it.
No, you should give it a try. See how it feels.
Okay. I'm gonna start, but I will try to, work the actor side of me. Okay, I'm gonna start. Right after my work announced the temporary close of our office, I got a text. Ding! There were rumors going around saying that New York City might be shut down. Hey, are you working from home? Hey, was about to text you.
Okay.
Here, this might be a bad idea. This might be a very bad idea. Haha, come in. This is very awkward. I just went to the grocery store and there's only empty shelves. Sounds crazy. It's like the world is ending. After I wash my hands, we kiss without mask on. Ouch. Do I have to read this? And had sex without condoms. We did it as if that was going to be the last time. That was the best sex I ever had after I moved to New York. Oh, I'm glad. I had been sleeping with this person for months, and yeah, we only knew each other by first names. We were comfortable with silence. Should I ask what his last name is? If today was really the last day of the world, it made me happy that I wasn't with someone I loved. Knowing there would be no tomorrow for them, that hurt me too much.
Yep, that's the last page. Thank you, Jo, for sharing this really beautiful and intimate story. That's very brave of you to document those moments in this difficult time. Thank you, Jo. Do you want us to see the next story?
Yeah, let's look at the next story, and we can, either talk about it or, yeah. Should I read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm a small house plant, but I'm going to grow big, big, and bigger. So big that I can protect the woman who waters me every day. Sometimes with tears. I'm going to be so big that I can protect her from any harm, whether it's the virus or the world.
Awesome, Jo.
Thank you. So this is
Did
created
you?
for Instagram,
Yeah.
so all the images are connected together. It's hard to see from here, but they're all connected.
Which story did you create first? The plant story or the other?
The other one.
Is it just a personal project, or did someone commission this piece?
These are just personal projects because we're all in lockdown and it's been 2 months or a little bit more than 2 months in New York already. So I just have a lot of free time on hand. So I just start working on these comics.
Awesome. Do you want to talk about maybe how did the whole thing started and feels like?
Yeah.
Sorry, we may jump from
Yeah, sure.
different topics.
There's only two, but is there anyone you want to talk about, like more specifically?
I'm curious about how did the whole thing started? Because I feel because the entire pandemic has been spreading, and I think American people has been hearing news along the time, like for a few months. Then I think there were a few cases happened in New York City, but nobody gave a shit about it. And then suddenly things just go down to here like really quick. So I'm just curious about how people in New York City feels like how their attitude towards this crisis has been changing.
I think at the very beginning, like nobody really take it seriously, and I wasn't, to be honest. But I was at that moment when it first started. I was more worried about, the hate crime against it, because I work in Midtown during the day, for my day job, and then there's a lot of, not a lot, but there's like one or two attack on just Asian people in general on the street, and so that's what I was more worried about. And then after like a week or two, everything was shut down, and then all the closes suddenly, like stores suddenly closes, and it just like it all happened kind of overnight for me. Yeah. And the first person who
Wow.
died in New York died in my neighborhood, like a couple blocks away from me.
Oh no, that's scary.
Yeah, I live in
How?
Bushwick, and then it's been really bad in this neighborhood. But people are still out, actually, especially after the weather finally start to get nice. And there's actually a lot of people in the park. And there's a law that we have to wear a mask now, like if you're in public. But honestly, with all those people hanging out outside, I actually don't know how bad it's gonna be once we reopen, because nobody is like really staying home these days.
Hmm. I'm wondering where did you get all those news about COVID so you can like make decisions on many things in your everyday life? A lot of people I heard about in New York City who actually read about news in WeChat in Chinese New Year, they were more cautious than American people back then. So they were the group that who did extra like protection every
Mhm.
day, like earlier than average American people in New York City. So
Mhm.
I'm wondering, do you read a lot of news in like Chinese news back in the beginning?
Like I read both. Like I definitely first started reading about it from all the news from Taiwan, but it's more because it's out from China, so it's more like political over there instead of like really about the virus. And I have a subscription to New York Times, and once it hit America, that's what I've been reading. And then they have a newsletter only talking about COVID that you can sign up for. So that's what I've been like mostly following. But like I have to be honest, like at some point it was like everybody talks about, and I live in a, like, this is my whole apartment. Like, I live in a really small room. So, it's very, like, it's like a lot for me, like, emotionally. Like, I'm like all by myself, like, cramped, like, in a really small bedroom. And then with all the bad news going on. So I stopped reading news for a little bit. So I would just only read the headlines, just to make sure, where I can go, and then what should I wear, and then like just worry about like work, like can I still, go back to the office kind of stuff.
Mhm. So I think, so Liyuan, I think you have also a very interesting story during the entire process of how the virus spreading around the world. I know that because we were talking earlier during the Chinese New Year festival, you came back to China, Guangzhou, visiting your family, and then suddenly the U.S. is starting this travel restriction. So, but you will manage to somehow you will manage to go to a different country. You went to the Dubai to self quarantine there for 14 days, and then you were able to go back to your office in New York City in order to come back to work. I understand like you had a lot of pressure from your boss. If you wasn't able to go back to work, you may get fired, then you would lose your visa, a lot of shit like this, consequences. Um, so do you want to talk about your experience of in the beginning you went through?
Yeah, it's very like it's quite a long story. So I went back to my home in Shenzhen for like Chinese New Year. At that time, I only heard few news like from of COVID. It's just like it might be come t-shirts by people, and that time even in China was fine, like nobody taking so much care until the Wuhan shut down. So I went back. Suddenly everything shut down in China, and then the U.S. embassy, first of all, they held my passport, not giving back to me, like for a month and a half. And then
Wow.
They already like get the news, and then they hold my visa. It took so long, and I finally got the visa. I went to Dubai for self-quarantine. And that time they have the law, like after 14 days, you accepted by the US custom, it will be fine. So on the 15th day, I trying to get on a plane and come back to New York, but in the airport, they shut me down again, says you're not allowed to get on a board. And and then I asked for the airport people, like, why, what's the reason? They said, there's no legal, like anything, no paper to give you to like prove like you're not allowed, but you're not allowed to get on the plane even after 15 days. And then at that time, I just think, oh, maybe Dubai was a very religious city, like, and I can try other countries. So I flew to Morocco after Dubai. And then in Morocco again, but at that time in Morocco and Dubai, nobody wearing any mask or anything. Like people are just walking around crowdedly, and then it was crazy. And again in the Morocco airport, they shut me down, saying like you're not allowed to get aboard, but they didn't say why. Like nothing proved. And then so my boss was like anxious because I cannot get back, and he sent his lawyer to Morocco to escort me over the border. But like also, and then they found out the government of the custom, they secretly send an email to the airline saying all these people from China, it's suggested not allowed to board, like something like this, just suggested. So the lawyer found out this email, so he threatened saying like this is illegal. And then I come back to New York. And after the week I came back to New York's shut down. Everything, like it was just a super long, like when I was in Dubai and in Morocco, I was just like broke down for so many times. Like I don't know where I go. I cannot go back to China because China also in a shutdown, and then I cannot get in America. Just like crazy. But finally I came back, and New York was shut down. So it's
You basically made a lot of effort of running from one epicenter to another epicenter of the pandemic.
yes, exactly. It was but now I kind of get used to it. I feel like over the Dubai trip, I feel like nothing can make me like bring me down, because I went through so difficult. It was in this days. Now New York, yeah, it's better. I mean, it's not better, but the people are wearing masks now.
So people on the street are wearing masks right now? I'm playing some video Tong sent me of the New York City street. It's not smooth, but you can tell the street is pretty empty here. Tong, do you want to talk about what you see on the street and your just daily life, daily routine? What do you see? Anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, I think in the beginning of the shutdown, like I still go to office, but in the law it says non-essential workers should work from home. But our company is kind of working with essential clients, so we still went to office for like 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. And then during that time, I only took Uber for commute. I cannot take any. I'm scared to take trains. And on the street, like it's super empty. I never seen that empty in New York. And from Brooklyn to West Village, usually took 40 minutes for the car, but now it's like 15, 18 minutes, super fast. And then everything closed, only some pharmacies are open, and it's in the beginning it's really difficult even to get delivery food. And yeah, and my daily routine, currently I just work from home. I try to keep the same routine like when I go to office. So try to make everything normal, but with more exercises just at home. And oh yeah, that's the first day. Oh, what's this? Oh,
Empty shelves and your remote working meetings.
No, this meeting was. Oh, I saw you said this meeting is the one I sent you for the darkest moment. Yeah,
so yeah. Do you want to just talk about it right now?
The darkest moment
in your entire professional life since graduation.
It's
surprisingly it's not COVID moment.
It's not COVID. It's like COVID kind of giving me a time for resting, like at home at least. For my
crazy hours.
Huh?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just remember we used to hang out a lot when we both first moved to New York, and then I never see you again ever since you started working.
I know, like
Tong's like kidnapped by her job.
I'm just like first when I get this job, I really, because I want to work with the like very creative and people around, and then and I heard like my boss is kind of a very how to say, design guru of the industry. So, and like I was really excited to work with him. And then I found out he was like he tried to push my boundaries, so sometimes it was really intense to me, like yelling, like break me down, and try to push, and then so this meeting is one day, like a long day. We work till 1 a.m. kind of, and for creative presentation to the client in Europe. And And then like in the daytime, he already make me cry for a few times. Because it was intense because of time and stress, and the deadline is all chasing me, and then like I worked until 1 a.m. and I went back home just for a shower, and like came back to the office for this meeting because it happened in Europe, and then New York is a midnight, like 3 or 4 a.m. time. So yeah, so like, but after I have so many similar experience, like always break me down, like super down, and then I just have to cry, work with crying. And at one point my tears is dry, and I already like, I got all of this. That's why like, now I have a really good relationship with my boss. We're more like a friend now, but he is still intense, but I understand the reason why he's doing it. And then, so yeah, but it took 5 years to get to here now.
I guess I would never understand that, but yep. I heard also sometimes, I even heard stories like you told me he even put you in the hotel so you can save time commuting and then go back to office like the next day.
Yeah, like I stay in the hotel during the blizzard day. So it's 1 block from the office. So I just, it's ridiculous. I mean, but I don't know why I did it, but I did. I mean, I have so much responsibility of stuff. I just, I don't know. Sometimes I can't help myself too. I just, like, people said in my office that I have OCD of working. I don't know. It's kind of crazy, I think.
What's OCD?
It's like I have to force it to finish or to do at certain points, something like that.
Okay. Sounds good. Wow, that's intense. Jo, do you want to share a dark moment in your professional practice since graduation?
Sure. There's a question for Tom and Michael. Tom, do you wanna answer that first?
Where is it?
It's in the chat.
Oh, hi, Tong. I can just say it. It's easier. But I was just curious about, we're talking about your very intense job, but how did you kind of land that job in the first place? And transitioning out of the MFA program and getting that job. If you could just talk about that a little bit. Thanks.
Yeah. First, after my graduate, I still work. No, my cat is just like keep meowing. Sorry. Get her away. So like, okay, you go. 1 second. Go there. Yeah. And
oh my God, those cats.
Did we lose Tong?
Tong just got kidnapped by the cat.
Maybe Jo, do you want to go?
Yeah. So what's the question? Like my darkest moment? Is that right?
oh, sorry, I don't know why the go-to meeting force quit.
Oh, okay. Tong is back.
Oh, sorry, I'm just back. Okay, so After graduation, I took my time. I still work with Diana in print shop like once a week, and I had a little short 3 months what's that called? Yeah, internship with High Point for teaching kids for print. And in the spare time, I just do some little freelance job. But at one point, I figure out that I have to get a visa to keep me in America. So I started applying different jobs in Minnesota, but like actually like they don't, a lot of companies, they don't provide the visa for foreign students. So New York has much more opportunities of the visa, and also like a more creative person. I would like to, like, the community is tight, and I can like commune with like also designs, art, whatever. And then so I started looking jobs in New York. So this job is just like very random. One day somebody hit me up on Behance. I really like Behance though, and then they hit me up on Behance, and he said, "Do you want to come for interview?" And I said, "Okay, but I'm in Minnesota now. It takes me a week to go to New York." So I just went to New York for this interview. And when I walk in the meetings room, my boss was just sitting there, and then he said to me, do you want to work? Do you want a job?" And I said, "Yeah, if you can provide a visa for me." And he said, "Yeah, sure, visa, no problem." And I said, "Okay." I just warned him. I said, "Really complicated though, like," and he said, "Oh, okay, it's fine." And then he said, "Can you work now?" I said, "Now it's like 10 a.m. I just for interview." I said, "Now?" I said, "Now I don't have anything." And can I call him Peter, because I call him Peter all the time. So Peter just he just said, "No, if you want a job, you just work now." And I said, "Okay." Then I just then start my, and this first day, and like from nowhere, I worked till like 8 p.m. At that time, I said, "Oh, maybe 8 p.m. is like a long day for like already long day." Before I work in like in High Point, it's kind of like 4 or 5. It's done. And then 8, okay, but now I know it's just the starting point for a long work day. And then I got into the company, and my boss just giving me I started working on design stuff. That time it was BlackBerry. I said, "Wow, BlackBerry, a big company." And I was really excited, put full like things my energies to this project, and then like more and more coming, and I got so I work with all these different architects, designers, are like photo retouchers of all the like a bunch of different categories people. And then I kind of get a sense of how to like work with people and get the creative right, and like, and also how to say, like giving guidance to people, like after a long time where I really get the sense of how to work as like every different field, I know how to work with them. So now like my position is just like more like giving them guidance of the correct direction, and then like and overseeing the stuff. So I didn't physically do a lot of design now, and so yeah, and then that's how I get to my home. And in between, I have so much dark time, like 4 years dark time. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you were calling me crying all the time in the phone. Those darkest moments. I just want to give a little bit of context to Tong's story. So the Behance portfolio, Tong mentioned in her story, that basically opened her door to this what first tier level of design agency is a platform organized by Adobe, so the industry standard for graphic design. And I remember after graduated, Tong and I, we were always competing who has more likes in our portfolio. So like more appreciation, more likes means your project is more popular on the website. So we were competing all the time. We were trying every way we can figure out to get more exposure, to get more likes. So I think to me, it's also the same. My job at the company Robert Bosch, also I got the interview opportunity also because of the portfolio and the number of likes on my portfolio. So yeah, so if you're a design student, definitely get your work out on that platform. A lot of people who hire talents like going through on the platform all the time. So yeah. So I think let's get back to Joe's story here. So I think Tong already answered the other story about her like life after 6 months of graduation. How did she get into the industry and get to and grow from that point? Maybe Joe, do you want to talk about how did you after graduation, what brought you to New York City, and how did you started your professional practice there?
So I've always been wanting to live in New York, so after I graduated, I just decided I want to go there. Oh, I want to come here since I'm here. Yeah, so I moved here, and at the first year, because I'm a visa holder, so the first year was pretty much just working very hard to get my visa, and I got my so my MFA is in illustration, but I got my undergrad in communications design. So like during that 1 year, we got one say like it's called like kind of like nickname intern visa. So you can like work as an intern or like work I don't know, part-time job, full-time job, but that's on only a year after you graduate. So I work in this brand called Amika. It's a hair care brand based in Brooklyn. So I do in-house design during the day, and I will just go home and draw. And I apply for a lot of competition, a lot of like shows to get exposure for my illustration work. And that's how I got my visa. So I'm on so-called artist visa right now, but I'm still working on it. I've been like waiting for it for quite a while for my second round. But so like for this visa, I need to like have work experience because I applied as a designer and illustrator. So for designer part, I have to have work experience, and for illustrator part, I have to be in shows. I've been recognized. I have to got like write-ups, interviews, and stuff, and I have to also like show work. So because I have this like dual skill set as a like pretty like simple basic graphic design, and then my illustration work. So I work for mostly like beauty and like fashion brands. I do in-house design for them, but I also like create illustration for them, and then on top of that I also do editorial work, and that's like how I got my visa. And my darkest moment is definitely like those like times I waiting for visa. Like for my current visa that I'm waiting for, I've been waiting for like a year, and it's like really tricky with with Trump and then with COVID, and especially what is it? Because the immigration laws keep changing, and then with the election, it's like really difficult. And I don't think Trump really likes Asian right now, so it's a little bit tricky. So that's definitely the most difficult part.
Yeah, I mean the same process, so I can feel it's such a like long stressful period of time. So it's interesting that how you deal with like one single stressor over the time, and it becomes such like a sword hanging on your head, and you have to be aware of that all the time. How do you I'm curious, how do you handle all those things that you cannot solve like in one day? You have to work towards a solution there.
What do you mean?
You work with I don't know, how do you keep the hope of solving the problem one day, but you still able to motivate yourself to keep up?
It's like,
what's it? Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like, well, like, long story short, but like I sort of left Taiwan because for creative, it wasn't really a high paying job there, and it's not like about money, but like the industry wasn't that good when I was still there. And after I graduated, I sort of like didn't really feel like working there, because at the time I was like, okay, maybe I would join advertising industry, because I interned in advertising when I was in college and stuff. And then I also work, not as crazy as Tom, but I also work like long hours, and the pay just wasn't good. And then like it's like like I still want to have a work-life balance, and I actually start out from fine art, and I always really like drawing. I always really like narrative work. So I was just like, okay, maybe I can take this chance, like, because my parents are really supportive. They were like, okay, if you really want to pursue another degree in another country, we will support you. So I was okay, maybe I'll take this chance. So I went to MCAD, and I met Tom and Frenchie and all these like really amazing people. And I was really lucky that I had a really good mentor, and I really like my peers at MCAD. And it really like brought me joy that I can like really have time to work on creative stuff that's only for me, and then like talk to like people with kind of like same kind of mindset, like they really care about like the work they produce. It's not only for money, even though the money is very important. And so after I graduated, I'm still like in touch with Paul and with Tom, and I still talk to Tian Ray and like some of other like peers at MCAT, and then having conversation with them, and everybody's so hardworking that definitely made me want to like keep up. So that's like definitely one of the drives. But also it's like because I don't like work for like agency, so I work for a company for different brands. And so like the work I create, it's not my, I just like work under the branding guideline. And for in-house design, like from my own experience, it's like pretty like simple and straightforward. Like I get the job done, but I wouldn't say it's like the work I'm like so proud of. There's like definitely projects I enjoy doing more, but a lot of it's like for marketing purpose, it's not the most exciting. So like to fulfill like the void I couldn't have like from like doing those work, I keep drawing, like keep like making comics, and I do like commission work for like magazines and like online columns and this kind of stuff. That's like a more like interesting stuff, and I feel more fulfilling, even though it's also like for other company. So like for that, I get money, and then I get like experience. I can like it's also under my name, so I also get like some kind of like like fulfillment, and then recognizing, and then with that, you know, I feel definitely like more comfortable. It's like good on my portfolio because I, you know, I have some big clients and stuff. And then so for that, that really, you know, kind of like, you know, the more you draw, you draw better. So like it helps me like, you know, what is it, gain progress like for my own work as well. And it's like really good to have like, you know, a balance to have your own work, and then for the work the work you create for like other company, like other clients, because you see like things like in different kind of perspective. So I wouldn't like, I kind of like keep it separated, like my personal work and my commercial work, but it's actually like kind of like all together, because you just like learn from like two different kind of experience. It's like, okay, if I'm gonna like say like sell my personal work, like what do I do if, so the clients or like the customer will like it more. And but like for my commercial work, it's like, okay, you know, it's like for other people, but it's gonna be under my name, so I still like, you know, want to make it more unique. It's more like not just a drawing. It's like people can see this drawing and say, oh, I think I recognize this style, I recognize this kind of like a way of like storytelling, reminds me of like Jo. So that's how I do my work.
Yeah, it feels like it never hurt to have a skill that you can make a living to keep your passion going further and longer.
Yeah, also, and I started like going to book fairs. So I started making more comics now because it's more fulfilling for me, because it's narrative but it's still drawing. And so I started going to book fairs, and then, you know, printing is like really expensive, so I have to like have a job like to pay for like everything. Um like I also, like my parents are like in some way like more traditional Asian parents. They're always like say, hey, you should have a job, you should get a job. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll get, not like fine, I'll get a job, but it's like, you know, it's really important to, I think it's really important to like kind of like have a backup plan. Like I think a lot of people really, you know, especially in New York, like people really glorify like struggle and kind of stuff, and then I don't like really necessarily agree with it. I think it's more important to find like a work-life balance. Like um I definitely was lucky that like my parents like support me for school, but ever since I graduated, like you know, I've been on my own, and living in New York is not cheap. And then like when I first moved here, like I was like juggling between jobs and stuff, and at some point I was in between visa, so I had to wait tables. And then those times like really made me like, you know, it was like really stressful. So, and then I, because with all the like stress, was anxious, I wasn't like, you know, like in the best place like to create work. So like I just learned like kind of like from experience, like you know, it's really, I think it's really important like to feel safe, and then you can actually create more work. And then with like some kind of like financial freedom, you can actually create like more work that you wouldn't be able to create like when you cannot afford making. Does that make sense?
Yep, I can't agree more. I can't agree more. I still remember your story reminded me of a story that in the liquor store on Lake Street, there's a liquor store called Lake and Spirit. And I remember I was there in the weekend, and I was buying some beer, and I saw a tag label on the beer saying like, "Don't quit your day job." Oh, I should have listened that, because I just quitted that like last year, I think. And then the COVID come, I got no job.
Yeah, and then you know, in here it's like you know, a really big social thing, and then, you know, I definitely like go out a lot. And then it's always like, you know, that's like money. I don't necessarily think being an artist is like you have to lock yourself at home, and then you gotta like, you know, cry, be sad, and like make all this work and stuff. I think it's, you know, good to be out and then meet different people, especially in New York. There's like so many creative people here, and then you have like different kind of experience. And then the comics I make right now are, you know, my work is always like really like influenced by my personal experience. So like the comics I make right now, it's the same, it's a lot of like inspired like by my own personal experience. And I wouldn't be able to make that kind of work if I just like, you know, cry in my bedroom like every day. And then I don't, and you know, it's not good for your mental health. And mental health has been like a really big thing like in my recent life and recent work. So I definitely wouldn't, you know, promote like this whole like glorified struggle thing.
Wow. Amazing. Thank you, Jo, for all the amazing stories and your great comics. I was really so touched when I read your comics. It has been so different since my last time see your work. So thank you so much for sharing. I think we have like 2 minutes left. Maybe we can open to a quick Q&A session. Anyone has some question for Jo and Tong? Okay, if not, maybe we give back to Michael, maybe to wrap it up.
Thanks, Peng, and thanks, Liyuan, and thanks, Jo. This was great. Yeah, I don't know. I'm getting a little echo. I hope you're not getting that. So my only question was anything, and we are at about noon now, so we'll wrap it up. But anything that's coming up next that's exciting for you three in terms of your careers, or just waiting to kind of get this over with and get back to normal? And actually, if there's any input to that, that's great. But Mei Ling has a question wanting to know your Instagram handles. So if you don't mind just typing those into the chat. Thanks, Jo.
I guess I'll start first. You know, I'm still in quarantine and I have to sort my visa out. So that's why I've been like mostly worried about just work and visa stuff. But at the same time, I'm still home. So I've been preparing to work on another comic that's longer. And am I getting some echo?
Yes, beautiful echo.
Yes. Okay, I don't know how to fix it. Is it better now?
Yes.
Okay. But yeah, I'm like working or planning to work on. Let me try. Okay, it's better now. So I am working on. Still.
Liyuan, you can just type it in if you want. Otherwise, if not, it's fine. Sorry, Jo. Yeah.
Unmuted.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, everybody. Looks like our connection's going haywire here. So maybe it's time to wrap it up. So. Thank you so much for coming, and just a plug here that we'll be having a robust season of ProPracs in the fall, so just look out for those. And I hope everybody has a healthy and summer.
It's wonderful to see all you guys, and Peng and Luan and Jo, best of luck, and Frenchie and Michael and Ellen. It's just, I miss all you guys so much. I just have to take a minute to tell you, I'm lonesome here. I'm bored in the house, in the studio, but this is some love, and it really helps to connect with everybody. And best of luck, and stay healthy, and let's keep hanging out. This is important. I love all you guys.
I would say that too. I think that class was, and that whole section of time, and I think Tom would agree with me, was an exceptional class, right?
Yes.
I love this format, and we should do it again. Maybe on Google Hangout that doesn't have echo.
Oh, it's worse on Google.
Thank you too. It was great to see you, and you did such a great job of moderating it, Peng, and it was wonderful to hear your stories, Jo, and to see you, Liyuan, and I'm just very impressed with all of you. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Dana.
3 very talented MCAD students and people and so forth. This has been really great. Thank you, Michael, for doing this.
Thank you.
I'm going to jump in with one quick comment. Thank you all. This was amazing. This summer, we will have some events. So in June, there is the Teaching Place Conference. It's going to take place as a webinar online. Check it out. It's on our Instagram, Facebook, and website. And also, we're putting together a series of Think and Drink events, which we did last summer in person, but this summer we're going to do them online with some community partners like AIGA, some illustration partners, etc. So the lovely part of that is that you can join from anywhere. So hopefully we can continue to have robust, fun online conversations about really great ideas. So thank you all.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, Ellen, for sharing all those great news. Well, a lot going on in summer. So looking forward to connect with everything, remotely. Thank you. I have to go to bed. It's 1 in the morning.
Good night, good night, Paul. And
Yeah. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
So,